Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle and this is Easily Influenced. Today I'm doing another regular way podcast episode. I'm going away with my family for a vacation for a little over a week, so I wanted to get this filmed and get it done and get it out to you before all of that happens. So hence the slightly different backdrop today. I am sitting on the floor because the rest of my bedroom is covered in suitcases and stuff and things that I am getting ready to pack for this trip. So it's looking like a bit of a bomb site in here. So yeah, we are just going to get cozy here on the floor today. The other thing, I have now, I think, worked out the issues with this little mic that I bought. So we're going to give this a shot and see how this all goes. And hopefully this is good audio quality. I can see, it seems to be working right now. So hopefully that continues and I don't have to refilm any part of this. But today, let's just get into the meat of the podcast. I have one finished object today, a whole bunch of whips, some more active than others, but we'll run through that together. And then I have one little acquisition that I actually forgot to mention last time. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, my very first whip is the Eva Cardigan. She is done. She's done. She's beautiful. This is the Eva Cardigan by Petite Knit. Yeah, the only thing it's missing is buttons because I'm lazy. What can I say? I haven't been button shopping yet. I just haven't found the time. But, it is blazing summer in New York right now. So luckily, I am in no rush to wear this. So they will have buttons by the time fall comes. But I'm obsessed with this. I think this is such a beautiful pattern, very wearable, even though I chose a kind of a bright color. But I will show you guys here some of the details of the construction. It has this beautiful kind of contiguous detailing here on the shoulders, which kind of shapes the shoulder beautifully. I'm obsessed. It's beautiful. It's just a really classic petite knit, wonderful construction, very easy to follow in terms of the pattern. And you know what? I'm going to suffer for you guys and for my art, and I am going to put this on. Oh God, it's itchy. Oh, I'm so sweaty. So you can see the shoulder detailing on, and hopefully that will give you a better idea here. But do you see how that shapes the shoulder? So I'll turn around here. That should give you a better idea of how it looks like on an actual, not on a hanger, but like on a human. And it just gives a beautiful like definition, kind of shape to the shoulder, which, yeah, I love this. I think it's gorgeous. And now I'm taking it off. Oh, okay, I'm free. Hopefully that didn't mess with the audio on the mic too much. Anyway, this I knit up on a US 6 needle, and it was kind of born of having some stuff in my stash that I wanted to use up. So there's a mohair I've used in this. I knit this up in this yarn, which is Illimani Santi Tweed in the color Pineapple, held with a strand of the Isayer silk mohair in it's the color 22, which is basically like this gold, like chartreuse color. Essentially the same color as this, but without the tweed in it. And I had bought that gold mohair a couple years back. I don't really know why. I just saw it and I thought, this is what I talked about, in my last video, which was things you don't need. Well, I went and bought a whole bunch of mohair that I didn't need way back when. And so I had this stuff in my stash and I thought, listen, I am going to make something out of this. And so I went and bought more yarn, which was this, to pair with it and create basically this really beautiful fabric here. So I was kind of going for a bit of a 70s vibe, I guess, and a very kind of fall inspired vibe. Because I think I bought all of these yarns. I think I bought all of these yarns last fall. So at the time that I started this, it was fall. And ironically finished it in midsummer the following year. But anyway, it's lovely. It is so soft. The Isayer silk mohair is the softest I've tried. I think because the silk content is a little higher in that one than in others. And then this yarn, which also comes in a bunch of different colors, by the way. If you like tweed yarn, this is beautiful. It's a DK weight. And this is 35% merino, 20% baby alpaca, 15% silk, 15% yak, and 15% Donegal. It's gorgeous. There's a kind of like a muted pink color and a blue color of this that I also love. I don't like variegated yarn, but I am a little bit obsessed with tweed and little flecks of things. So yeah, this is very soft. The silk mohair is very soft. So this is going to make a wonderful garment. Come fall time, winter time, I think it's going to go beautifully. I will maybe insert some pictures of how I would style this and the kind of colors I'd pair it with, but I'd keep everything else like relatively muted. So kind of grays, blacks, and things I think would really bring out. Look at that halo in the light. Oh, she's beautiful. Other details, I knit the size small in this. I am not typically a small, but the pattern for this, this garment it's intended to be very oversized. There's certain things I like oversized. I don't really love very oversized cardigans. I like an oversized sweater because I feel like that gives kind of a, I don't know what the right word is, but gives sort of a slouchy vibe that I like. I feel like the oversized cardigan, though, just sort of like hangs off of me and in not as flattering of a way. So I like cardigans not to be fitted, but to be a little more form-fitting than, say, I would probably make for a sweater equivalent. So I chose the size small, even though I'm not usually in her size small, just to get like the circumference that I actually wanted and the amount of ease that I wanted. And because it was a small, I did knit the body a little longer than she suggested because I have, as I've discovered, I have, I guess, a longer torso than most people. And I am quite tall, I'm 5'8". So I knit this a little bit longer in the body and the sleeves as well. And luckily the sleeves are pretty, there's a couple decreases, but not that many. So I did the suggested number of decreases and then just knit an extra, I think maybe like 15 to 20 stitches or something before starting the ribbing on the sleeves. And that kind of comes up to, you know, about here on me, which is perfect. That's what I like. So yeah, I'm so happy with this. I'm really pleased with the end result. I'm going to go get some really fun buttons for this. And thank you to those people who commented on button suggestions. I think maybe a sort of muted brown or a black button I think could be fun with this one. So I'll find something kind of neutral looking because this is a pretty funky color. So that is my finished object. I'm so happy to have had this done. Wonderful pattern. I love the contiguous shoulder, and I think I mentioned I want to do her poppy tee as well because that one also has the contiguous shoulder shaping, and I think it would be really cool in a t-shirt. So I'm going to try that one next. All right, moving on to whips. So this is for sure a whip, but it is approaching finished object territory. This is my Lakes tee by Ozetta, and I am basically done with the upper half and just need to continue on Stockinette Island until I get to the ribbing at the bottom, and then we are good to go. Ignore this jankiness over here. So here's a warning to all you people who want to take shortcuts because I was a fool. I was a fool with this one, and it's probably now going to take me more time to correct this. So I always like to, before I kind of finish the body, especially, I have a feeling I may run out of yarn on this one. So I did the collar, I did the sleeves, and wanted to do all of that to see, you know, gauge the fit and everything. Also because like I've heard this before and I think it's true. Once you do the collar and the sleeves, it does kind of pull like the rest of the fabric up a little bit. So it's better to gauge the ultimate length of the garment after you've done all of that. So this part is done and it doesn't change everything after you finish the body. So anyway, I did all of that. I think let's talk about this collar for a second before I get onto my follies and foolish mistakes. This detailing, it is like chef's kiss. Look at that. Look how pretty it is. One modification I always make for any ribbing I do a half twisted rib, but not the way you think. I do the knit stitch normally, and then I do the purl through the back loop. And that is the way I've discovered to get the tidiest ribbing, because I guess because of the way I knit or how I tension the yarn, my regular way ribbing is not that nice to look at. So this is the way I've discovered to kind of get this beautiful look here. So I'm very happy with that. The sleeves kind of, it's the saddle shoulder construction. So you just pick up all of these stitches around here and then knit straight out. It gives a really nice kind of continuous line there. More ribbing here that I finished up. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to be clever. I am going to unwind the swatches that I made for this. And I had 2 swatches that I made so that I can finish up the other sleeve, this sleeve, with those, and then use my last remaining ball of yarn for the body. And then I'll have it'll be smooth cruising down the rest of the body. And then I was lazy, so I unwound the little swatches, and of course they were all like spaghetti, like ramen noodle looking. And that's been fine for me in stockinette before. So I didn't even think that it would have some effect on ribbing. And so I was just not paying attention. And, this is only like 9 rounds of ribbing. So it's not like I was doing it for that long, but I was kind of just in the zone, not really thinking about it. And then did the ribbing, bound off. And then I was like, oh no, this looks so janky. So I'm gonna get you to compare. Okay, so this is the good sleeve that I did with yarn off the ball. Okay, so that looks like relatively normal. It'll look even more even once I block it. And then there is this side. Do you see that? Like how uneven and janky and like messy this looks? Like this looks awful. It looks like I've never done ribbing before. And so I finished this and I was like, oh my, that's why there's yarn like dangling off of this. So I haven't wound the end in on here because I have a sad sinking feeling that I am going to have to rip that back once I've blocked it and redo it. The reason I'm not ripping it back right now before I block it is I'm holding on to this vain hope that maybe washing and blocking will even some of this out and it'll kind of look okay. I don't know. But anyway, it's a small fix. It's only like a couple rounds. It's like not even 10 rounds of ribbing. So if I have to fix it, that's fine. I know I have enough yarn here on this side to do it. So not a big deal, but I was like, oh my God, Michelle, what were you thinking? This is what happens when you try to make shortcuts. So don't be like me. I'm a clown and a fool, and this is the end result. But more details about this. I'm knitting this in the size large. I can't remember. Did I say this is by Ozetta? It's the Lakes Tea by Ozetta. I'm knitting the size large. I wanted a really boxy kind of knitted top for the fall, and I think that's what this is going to be. So I'm really happy with that. It is a saddle shoulder construction, as I said. The pattern is very easy to follow. I've knit a One More Thing by her in the past, which again, all of her patterns I feel like are really easy to follow. There's multiple check-in points where it'll tell you should have X number of stitches on the needles now. I always appreciate those because I do like to kind of go back and make sure that I haven't made some horrible error somewhere. But yeah, it's plain, it's beautiful, but I am knitting this out of Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Pomegranate. So it's this beautiful kind of, to me, this reads neutral red, but my husband saw this whip and he was like, oh, you're doing a lot of 70s stuff lately, because I know he was referring to this thing, which is intentionally very 70s colored, and he was like, oh, this is sort of an orangey red, isn't it? I don't think it is. What do you guys think? Is this an orangey red? I mean, it's a warmer red than cool, but I wouldn't have said it's orangey. They definitely have orangey reds in their collection, but I wouldn't have said this is one of them. So anyway, I think this is going to be such a nice staple. I love wearing red. I have a lot of red garments and dresses and things. And I feel like red kind of goes with everything in a way. So I'm pretty happy with this. This should be done, I would think. Well, I'm not taking it with me on vacation. I actually don't take knitting with me on vacation because I've learned from experience really that being with the kids all day, it just means like you're never going to have a chance to sit down and work on this. So these are all going to stay home. But once I get back, this should be done within the week, I think. So yeah, super excited. And it's just a lovely, it's a lovely fabric. And I love how this yarn knits up. I mean, it's just got a beautiful stitch definition. And this isn't even blocked. It's not even blocked and I would wear it. Like it looks nice enough. So other than the sleeve that I screwed up. So let's ignore that. But other than that, it looks really nice. So yeah, that is my whip, but almost finished object. Okay, moving on. Another whip that I think last time I had not talked to you guys about yet because I hadn't started it, but it's curling a lot here. This is sorry, this is difficult. This is the beginning of the Claire vest by Mochi Knits. So this is the back panel that I'm knitting right now, and I'm almost done with it. So there's a couple more rounds of this to go, and I am holding this yarn double. So this is the Camellia Fiber Co. Silk Tweed Fingering, which is 52% silk, 24% mohair, 20% merino, and 4% viscose. And it has this kind of beautiful, I'll bring this up closer, sort of tweedy effect. It's lovely. I'm holding it double. If you watched my last podcast, I actually tried to knit a swatch for this with this held single. I did meet gauge on that needle. But it looked flimsy. It didn't look nice. The stitch definition didn't look nice. So I'm holding it double, which means this will be a heavier fabric on me than I think the pictures in the pattern would kind of suggest it should be. But I don't necessarily mind that. Again, I probably wouldn't wear this, on the hottest day of the year anyway, because it has like this merino and mohair in it. So even in the single, like I probably wouldn't have worn that like today, for example. It's like 95 degrees out. So I'm fine with wearing this on a cooler day and having it just be a little bit heavier, a little bit more substantial. So yeah, I'm not very far into this yet, but it is knitting up into a much more even fabric that, like, I really like the look of this. Nice stitch definition. It's not looking uneven or bumpy. And it's very, very silky and soft. So I'm excited to see what this turns out like. I am a big Mochi Knits fan now. I did her Taipei vest, which I loved, and this one looks really cool too. I have a feeling I will probably need to buy one more skein of this. I did the math, and it's quite a cropped garment. And usually I knit longer because I don't really love a cropped look. And like I said, I'm tall and I have a long torso. So more than likely I will need to buy another skein, but that's fine. So I'll pop over to my local yarn store, which is Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco. And I will get some more of this, but excited. This is really nice. I think once I finish up with the Lakes tee, I will dedicate my full attention to this one. But this I am also knitting on a US 4 needle, same for the Lakes tee. So they're kind of sharing needles at the moment, which is why this one is on stitch stoppers. So I don't have a whole lot more to say about that. Just excited to get that done. I think it'll be a nice kind of fall transitional type of item for me, even though it's probably intended to be more like a midsummer item. Now, here we have another whip. This is my Moonset tee by Ozetta again. And so this is the back panel. I am knitting this out of Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Koala. Take a look at that. And I am, let's see, I'm almost through. So I initially blocked this when I got to the end of the short rows just to make sure that I was happy with like the sort of the drape and I guess the see-throughness of the ultimate fabric. So I don't know if you can see. It's very subtle, but maybe you guys can see where that line is on here. But conclusion, it does bloom a tiny bit once it's blocked, but I think because this isn't like a super kind of sheer white color, I'm pretty happy with the opacity of this. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. I'm pretty happy with how this looks. And I'm knitting this on a US 3 just to kind of tighten things up a little bit. And that's where my gauge will sit. So yeah, this is so far so good. Again, her patterns are really easy to follow. I am, going to, I think I've got maybe, I don't know, 30 more rows of this back and forth. And then I think it's front panels after that, and then probably joining. So yeah, I want to get to Stockinette Island. I love Stockinette Island and the round. So this is fun. And then I'm very curious to see how that V is done in the front because I also have, as an inactive whip, but I will pick it up again in the fall, I have her Moonset pullover, the long sleeve version, which obviously is the same design in the front. So I'm really curious how this is gonna knit up, but love this color. It's again, on screen it's reading like gray, but pretty flat gray. But in person, and especially in the light, it looks almost like gray-green. So yeah, knitting for Olive just do really fun colors. Can't complain. I love them. All right, now a whip that I have resurrected because I wanted to just kind of not forget how to make it, basically, is the Cardi Cocoon by Anne Wenzel. So I am very slowly making progress on this guy. So this is the back panel, as you can see. And I'm just really slow on this. I can't really do the one by one cabling without a cable needle, and it's like every other stitch basically. So as this gets bigger and bigger, I'm effectively getting slower to do each repeat, but it is lovely. And I think with the cable needle, it's coming out really nicely. So I'm happy with how this looks, and I will just kind of slowly plug away at this. But I am knitting this out of 2 yarns. I have to remind myself now what these are. Okay, yes, so this is the Julie Asseline DK in the color Biscotti, which is kind of a neutral, warm, beigey brown pink. So a very neutral color. And then this mohair, silk mohair, is the Ito Sensai silk mohair in the color Goat. So these are both beautiful yarns. They feel great to work with. One thing I'll say about this guy, so this has a higher silk content than most other silk mohairs, which means it is a little slipperier in the hand. So if you're holding it double, what that means is I need to hold it a lot tighter, or else I've found that like it'll sort of slip away from the main strand, like the Julie Asseline DK strand, and then I'll end up with kind of stray loops of mohair that just like didn't make it into the stitch. So I have to be quite careful and pay attention when knitting. So this is, I mean, aside from the cable thing, this is definitely not going to be like a sit in front of the TV and knit situation. Just because like there's the yarn, I really need to kind of watch as I'm doing it, or the mohair wants to run away and start its own life somewhere else. But I'm excited to have this. I really want this done by the winter. I think this is like a perfect throw over something else type of situation. So I'm super excited for this one. I just know this is going to be a heavy lift. It's going to be a heavy lift because this is a, you know, almost to the knees kind of pattern. I bought enough yarn to make it that long. I don't know, because I had to adjust my needle size a little bit. So my gauge might be slightly off on this one. So I'm knitting this on a US 6. I think the suggested needle is a little bigger, maybe 2 sizes bigger even. So we're gonna see, but I may run out of yarn before that happens. But if it's a little shorter than past the knees, I'm okay with that too. Again, I am tall, so you know, we have to take that into account. Last whip, more like a plan, I guess, not really a whip, but I have been salivating over the Bruno vest by Mareka Knits for some time now. And in my last video, I think I showed you guys, I got a kind of free package from Pearl Soho. And one of the yarns they sent me was this, I've knitted up, I've put it in a ball now, but this is the Signet yarn in heirloom white. So just like a pure white, very simple yarn. And let me see what this is, cashmere and, okay, 70% cashmere and 30% alpaca. It's so soft. Even holding the skein, I could feel the drape on it was going to be beautiful. And so it says it's a fingering weight yarn. And now, you know, you guys know my journeys with fingering weight yarns. Like, I just feel like my gauge with them is absolutely all over the place. And this one, like in the skein, it didn't feel like, say, the Knitting for Olive. You know, like this feels like a very compact kind of like full merino fingering weight yarn. Like you can tell touching this that it's not going to expand and bloom to, you know, a really great degree. So like the gauge you're getting in your swatch is like probably pretty close to the gauge you're going to get once it's washed and blocked. But this one, it feels like bouncier, puffier. And so I thought, okay, well, why don't I just knit up a swatch on the suggested needle and see what happens. So this is what I knit up on a US 6, which is pretty big to be knitting up for a fingering weight yarn. And you can see, I mean, on camera, it's not showing any see-throughness at all. In person, there's a little bit, like if I hold my fingers behind this, like, you know, a tiny bit, the Bruno vest has a suggested stitch gauge of 23 stitches. I'm getting 24 on the US6. So I think if I pull this down, or actually, oh, I'm realizing now, for some reason my math was going the other way. So I was like, oh, I will go down to US5, but obviously that would give me more stitches. Well, I can't pull it up to a 7. So maybe I will do the 6. I'm silly, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. My brain for a second was like, oh, if I go down to US5, like I will definitely get, like, no, I'll get more stitches than I want less stitches. So, you know, I'm gonna see. I do feel like I could maybe get away with this on a bra. Let's see. Maybe the 6 will work, you know. Maybe it will work. Anyway, I really want to make the Bruno. I think I might just start this and see what happens and see if I'm liking the way it's turning out, because I feel like this is a beautiful yarn, and that garment looks like it should be kind of light and drapey, like kind of fluffy, you know, floppy, drapey. It looks like one of those. So I might just take my chances on the 6 and just account for that in the sizing and see what happens. I forget how much positive ease it has, but I mean, it's not terribly see-through looking at it like this. So fingers crossed, we're gonna see. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but I want to use this yarn for something, and it is absolutely beautiful, and it's so soft, so soft. So stay tuned. I'm gonna see if the math will work out if I keep the 6 and just size up or something. So we're gonna do a little math and cross my fingers, because that's what I usually do until, you know, there's some reason for me to stop. So I think that's all my whips and kind of active plans for now. I still want to knit the poppy tee. Like I said, I do have some yarn set aside for that, but that one I'm also happy to put off to the fall, since it's a t-shirt. You know, of course I could wear that in the fall too. So I don't feel like there's any huge rush there. I'm also kind of continuing to plan some gift knitting. So once I have a clearer idea of what I'm doing there, I will include that in a podcast as well. Last thing to mention, I guess, is just acquisitions. I bought a couple. I think I bought 4 of these. This is just a Sunless Garn Sunday, and this is the color 5882. Just you know, it almost looks black on screen. It's not. It's kind of a just dark stormy blue navy color, I guess. So because I've been loving how the Lakes tee have turned out, I thought I'd get 4 skeins of this and create something else. Probably not an oversized tee, because I don't think 4 will be enough, but I could definitely do like a high neck tank or something in this, another nice fingering weight project in the future. So I just like this color. It was on sale at my local yarn store. It was not a single skein of yarn, so I bought 4 of them. I bought what was left there, which was 4. Definitely enough to make me a tank top or something. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm excited for this one. So I'll make up some kind of project for this, and we'll see. I will keep you guys posted. I feel like this kind of got really long, and even though I don't have a ton of finished objects or anything. But anyway, that's it for today. I will be on vacation for a little while, but I'll be back with my regularly scheduled programming. Once I'm back, I've got a couple other fun ideas with pattern roundups, other things that you guys seem to like. So until then, I hope you guys are having an awesome summer. I hope you, or winter, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you as always for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care. Bye.